Okay, so hi, this really is not a substitution for meeting with me and talking things through, but just in case this is helpful, if you've already attended a meeting or you wanted a place to start, I'm going to talk a little bit about practicum and internships for school counseling at Manhattan University. Okay, so previously, people used to take a practicum class in the spring, and then they would do their internship one in the fall and the internship two in the spring semesters. Starting in fall 2025, we have a new sequence. So students will be registering for practicum in the fall, then they will be registering for a winter session course in internship one and internship two in the spring semester, essentially completing the full sequence of requirements in the course of 1 year as it relates to field work. I just want to go over what is required in terms of hours. These are requirements set forth by New York State. So let's just start with the internship. Internships are each 300 hours, and the state is very clear that this is a K-12 license you will be getting. So they want you to have experience across K-12. So one of the 300-hour internships must be in an elementary or middle school setting, and one of the 300-hour internships needs to be in a high school. My recommendation is that you start in both placements in September, so that you can start a school year along with everybody else and get used to the culture and milieu of the schools that you're working in. And I would just do fewer hours, but for the whole year, if that makes sense. So you don't have to do it that way, but that is my recommendation. Just keep in mind that again, it's two different buckets, the K-8 bucket and the 9 through 12 bucket, of which needs to be 300 hours. If you're starting with practicum, the state does not care how you break up the practicum, meaning it can be K-8 solely or 9-12 solely, or it could be a mix of those things. So my recommendation is that you start in two schools with practicum in the fall semester with the intention that you're going to continue in both of those placements for the remaining internship hours of 300 hours each. So it's the same idea as what I just described. You're starting in two schools, the only difference in the fall, so that you can get used to sort of how things are and develop relationships with students that last the entire academic year. The only difference is you'll be doing an additional 100 hours. So that'll be basically 50 hours in each setting. So essentially 350 hours in a K-8 and 350 hours in a 9 through 12. You don't have to do it that way. That's just a suggestion. Okay, just some FAQs. Do I have to start both schools at the same time? Again, just reiterating, no, that's a suggestion. This just comes from 25 years of working in schools and knowing how they function and understanding that it's a little bit odd when you either disappear in the middle of the year because the semester's ended, or you just arrive in January when the second spring semester begins. So my recommendation is just because it's a little bit disorienting, again, is just to start in the fall. And I think that that really benefits you and it benefits the kids who come to rely on you and get to know you. And trust and rapport take time. So having that whole year to kind of develop that is, I think, beneficial, but you don't have to do it that way. Okay, so what happens if I don't get all my hours done in time? So you can get a T grade in a course that's basically an incomplete until you complete your hours. This does happen, I think, when people follow the old model of the internship in the fall and the internship in the spring, because oftentimes you need that time between those two semesters, meaning beginning of December all the way through the third week of January, in order to meet your hours. Similarly, this sometimes happens in the spring semester where people are not done with their hours at the beginning of May when we end our college semester. They want to continue in the schools through June. So this does happen. It's certainly not ideal, but it's not unusual for it to occur. Okay, so know that that's always a possibility. Okay, big question. Can I do my internship one and two at the same site? if there's a middle school and high school. So we have a lot of schools, right, that are 6 through 12 or 7 through 12 schools. So technically, right, you're thinking, well, in that case, right, would it fulfill my two buckets that I have to do? Yes and no. The state is very clear that this is okay only if there are two discrete school counseling departments. If it's the same department, they don't want you to do it that way. So, yes, you can do it at the same school if there are two different guidance programs and departments, one serving the middle school and one serving the high school. No, if it's a sort of conjoined group. Okay, just breaking down the practicum a little bit. So again, it's 100 hours. Again, it could be one school building or within multiple buildings in a school district or across several districts. It's sort of up to you how you structure it. The state is looking for 40 of those hours to be direct student service hours. So that means things like individual counseling or group counseling. And the remaining 60 hours can be on other things like data analysis or other things that come up in school. So we can talk about it, but just so you can plan your time. In terms of the internship, so those 600 hours that need to be completed between the two, 240 hours of the supervised hours need to be direct student service. Okay, and the language on the left is directly from the state, um, as well as what I've extrapolated to create the infographic. So we understand that there are times when you're doing other things in school besides direct student work, right? Sometimes you're uh, sitting in on a meeting. At times, you might be asked to update a bulletin board. You might be looking through student transcript data to ascertain X, Y, or Z. Okay, all of those are fine, but you just want to have 240 hours of those direct student service time slots, if that makes sense. Okay, who supervises the internship? Language on the right, again from the state. And again, my infographic is taken with language from the state. So basically, the ideal situation is you have a certified school counselor in the program that you are working in. Um, so you want a certified school counselor to be doing your internship supervision. There are times where this is impossible. Sometimes you work in a district where you'll be in an elementary school, but there's no elementary school counselor, but there is a school counselor in the district who can supervise. That's less ideal, obviously, but it has happened and it is possible. Okay. So there is basically some flexibility, but not a lot. So school counseling degree, we want a school counselor ideally to be signing off on it. This is, again, directly from New York State. There are those of you who are interested in the bilingual pupil personnel designation. If that's you, that's great. We should talk, but this isn't part of this conversation. So there's an additional field work placement of 100 hours that's necessary along with a separate class for the bilingual pupil personnel. Okay, so certificate. So talk to me if that's what you're interested in, but it is not related to the conversation we're having now. Here are some other FAQs. Where are the forms? So yeah, each time you do a practicum, an internship 1 or internship 2, you need to fill out a placement set of forms. So those can be found in Community Moodle. I have a slide in a second to show you what that looks like. And yes, you do 3 separate ones, one for placement in field work, one for a placement in practicum, and then one for internship 1 and one for internship 2, even if these are in the same place. When do you have to get those done by? Ideally before your classes start. Do you need liability insurance? Yes, you do, and you can get it from ASCA for free if you're an ASCA member, and they have very reasonable rates for those of you who are studying. Can I get help with the placement? Yes, make an appointment with me. I can help you to the degree that you want me to. I'm available to connect you with resources. Okay. So this is what the community Moodle counseling and therapy site looks like where you're looking for those forms. Okay, that's where they are. All the forms related to um, The internship and practicum. And this is the website for the American School Counseling Association. So this is where you can get your liability insurance and join as a member. The liability insurance is good for 1 year, so that should cover you. Thank you.